Failure counts as done, so make mistakes. Let me tell you a story about Tommy. Tommy's a pretty happy-go-lucky fellow. He's got a good job that pays a good wage, and he's got the respect of his peers. He gets to work on projects that he finds rewarding, and he's also got a social life which is pretty good too. He gets a little bit of time for hobbies, not as much as he would like, and when he bumps into somebody in the street and they ask how he's doing, he says, yeah, life's pretty good. But under it all, Tommy has this feeling that he just can't shake. It's a gut feeling that he has more to give and that his ideal life is just out of reach. In this life, he's working a job that is super rewarding and pays him significantly more money than he's on right now. His social life is absolutely bursting at the seams with people he absolutely cares about, and he's got a ball of time to actually do the hobbies and pastimes that he wants. When he gets up every morning, the person who looks back at him from the mirror is in the best shape of their lives. It's able to do anything and everything that Tommy wanted to do, and it completely supports his whole lifestyle. And now when he bumps into that person on the street and they ask how things are, he doesn't say that life is, pretty good. He says it's fucking awesome. Does this sound familiar? Maybe a bit too familiar? If you're like me, you'll know that this hypothetical life isn't the one that's considered to be normal. And that if you want to achieve something that's not normal, you need to do things that other people just either don't or are unwilling to do. But that's not the problem. The problem isn't knowing what to do. More often than not, the problem is actually starting. And that leaves us with the question, how do you actually start? And this is something that I used to know all too well. I had this vision of a life that I wanted to create. I knew exactly where I was going, but I just had no idea how to take that small first step forward. And what ended up happening was I would sit down and I would write a plan and I would detail exactly what I was going to do. And then as I went through and I actually started doing that and doing the research that comes with it, I would learn more. And then that would feed back into my plan, which would ultimately allow me to learn more, which fed back into the plan, which allowed me to learn more. And now I'm in this loop of where I'm spending all of my time actually just planning and learning and not actually doing anything. It feels like I've taken a first step, but I haven't. I'm still in the exact same spot, except now I've got a million sheets of paper with a million different plans on it. And I'd bet that sounds even more familiar again. The good news is, I'm here today with 2 things that you can do today that will help you actually start. You know Newton's second law, right? The one that says anything that's at rest will remain at rest and anything in motion will remain in motion unless an external force acts upon it. Well, our motivation actually doesn't work much differently. When you're actually sitting on the couch and you have a laundry list of things that you want to do, that barrier to actually starting is massive, and getting even a little bit of forward momentum and getting started sometimes can feel like we're climbing a mountain. But similarly enough, I've bet you've all felt that moment of where when you're in the middle of something and you said you would only do it for a half an hour, and then you look down and an hour has gone by. Or maybe you do notice that it's an hour, but actually, do you know what? I'm in the groove now. I'll keep going. I'll just do a little bit more. That's the exact same. When we're at rest, it's very difficult to start. But once we do start, keeping going is so much easier. And that leaves us with the question of how do we get the benefit of having the momentum and use that to kind of catalyze us to get our bums off a seat and go and do some work. And this is where the 5-minute rule comes in. What you're going to do is take out your phone and set a timer for 5 minutes. Then you're going to start working. After those 5 minutes are up, if you want to stop, you stop. But if you want to keep going, you keep going. The benefit of this is that at a minimum, you've got 5 minutes worth of work done, and every single minute beyond that is just a benefit. But the real reason that this works is because the barrier to entry is so low. If we've got this laundry list of things that's going to take hours or weeks or maybe even months and years to get done, that is a massive body of work to actually start getting through. And when you're just teasing at the start of it, that's super difficult. So by instead changing it that you're not trying to get all of your to-do list done and instead just work on it for a mere 300 seconds, that barrier to entry becomes so much lower. And even if you do stop after that 5 minutes, isn't getting 5 minutes of work done better than none? The concept of a shitty first draft is actually something that I love. Naturally, I default towards striving for perfection, which initially may sound good, but it's really not, because that will actually stop me from allowing something to be posted or shipped or completed because I'm constantly tweaking and adjusting and looking for perfection. Oftentimes, that will also catch me off guard at the start of the process, where even when I'm just laying something out, I'll want to get it perfect. And then that just slows the whole process down. And this is where the concept of a shitty first draft really comes into play. And I've got a perfect scientific study that actually demonstrates this far better than I can. There was this class of pottery students who were brand new to pottery, had never touched a wheel before, never touched clay, completely brand new. And this group of people were actually split in two. The first group were tasked with producing one and only one piece over the entire course. And their mark would be given exclusively on this one piece and how well it was, whatever the metrics are for pottery. I don't know anything about pottery, but they would have been scored on this one piece, and they could only make that one piece. The second group were actually scored completely different. They were told that their score would be entirely based not on the quality of what they produced, but the quantity. You produce more parts, and you get more marks. That was it. Once it was all done, guess which group actually did better? It was the group that made more pieces, and instead of focusing on quality, focused on quantity. And the reason for this is actually super simple, even though it's not initially obvious. The group who only worked on one piece only had a limited experience set that they were developing. Sure, they initially developed the skills that come with taking something from clay and turning it into something that they wanted to create. But beyond that, they were just tweaking and adjusting and had a limited experience in terms of what they were actually doing with the clay. Whereas the other group, sure, they weren't focused on that quality, but by turning over parts and actually making more and more and more, they got better at the base skills and were presented with more different experiences which challenged their thinking and their current knowledge base, allowing their skills to develop over the course, meaning that subsequent parts slowly became better and better and better. The reason why I tell this story in this context is that concept of a shitty first draft sometimes feels like we're actually just giving ourselves a pass to produce subpar quality work. But that's not the case. What we're doing is we're taking that practice, we're honing our skills so that over time we can creep up onto this piece that's of the quality that we actually want to produce, and not try and challenge ourselves to get it on the first go. So if you're doing anything, give yourself permission to make a shitty first draft. I opened this video with a quote from one of my favorite authors, Seth Godin, and I'm going to finish it with one too. The challenge is to focus on the work and not the fear that comes from doing it. Trust me, I know all too well the pain that comes with having this vision of a life that you're trying to create, wanting it so badly, and because of that, not wanting to waste any time, effort, or energy in actually creating it, and you want to get it right the first time around. But what I'm telling you is that that's holding you back. That striving for perfection, that strive to get it right the first time around, is only stopping you from moving forward now. And it's only when you become like the second pottery group and go into it trying to learn and fail as much as possible so that you can get more opportunities to learn, that will allow you to develop the skills that will ultimately get you to where you want to go. Anyway, what do you think? Think I'm way off the mark or right on the money? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd really love to hear what you think. But beyond that, that's all I have for today, folks. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow for more. And with all that said and done, have a great fucking week. Peace.